Alright folks, sorry about the delay there. Let me pull up my Slack on my phone. Do feel free to bring any Python questions within the scope of what the material is covering on Learn, whether it's from Learn or from Code Wars or from wherever else. May not be able to take all questions, but you're always free to ask. If I can't take a certain question, I'll just let y'all know. No big deal. Go ahead and put it in the Slack channel, and we can go from there. I don't see any questions popping up just yet, so I'm just going to start in on the material. Looks like last time we left off on list iteration. Oh, nope, spoke too soon. Here we got a question. So we got a question, says, could I go over this challenge in the strings function replace chapter? Is there a way to do this with checking by index? Look at index 0 and 1, then 1 and 2, then 2 and 3, etc. Okay. Can you provide a link for this one? Just do that. Here, let me grab this stuff real quick. Oh. Okay. I'm just going to paste in the question here so we can kind of go from there. Cool. I think that link will work. Let me just check it out real quick. Thank you very much. That helps me be able to find it quickly. Let's go through this. And we've got some more copy here. Come on, Slack. There we go. Okay, did not copy. Okay, so it looks like this is the doc string. I'll go from there. Replace. This is the write a function called replace doubles. And remove the vowel. Okay, let's see. This is the third one. Great. All right, so we already got the doc string here. So write a function called replace doubles. So let's get start our test. Get that in place, replace doubles. I don't know what we're going to take as an input yet. I'm just trying to get down everything that I know for sure. So def replace doubles. Oops. Well, that's what I know for sure. Let's try to just get a little more space here. This function takes a sentence as an argument. Checks for any double letters, for example, AA or TT, and replaces double letters with just a single instance. Let's see. So, okay. So it replaces double letters with a single instance of that letter. So AA just becomes A and TT just becomes T. Okay, so this function should be case sensitive. So be sure to preserve the case of each letter, i.e. capital A, lowercase a should not be considered a double. The space character may also be doubled and should be replaced by a single space character. Got it. Okay. So, I can think of a couple approaches for this, but let's sort of start formatting this docstring a little bit in a sort of like a description input output format. So let's go through this again. We know the function name takes a sentence as an argument, so we'll say arguments. We'll do this. Actually, kind of like this. Arguments. Function takes a sentence as an argument. So a sentence is a string. What should we call it? Let's just call it text. Is a string. Takes a sentence as an argument. Checks for double letters. Replaces them with the instance. Okay. Return. The string with the with double is removed or replaced. All right. Cool. So it's the way you do this is probably going to look different than the way that I do this. This is not meant to be like a comprehensive. I'm not doing this to show you that there's like a comprehensive or like necessarily perfect like standard way of doing this, but I just like to take a little time to show you all, to kind of try to emphasize, to take some notes ahead of time, just something that's going to make sense to you regarding what your inputs should be, what your process should be, and what your output should be for your function. So just a few little things like this can help as you're writing it. Cool. Okay, so now let's complete our test. I'm just going to grab a little bit of text. I've got some text pre-loaded here. Looks like this has some double letters in it. And it's got some different cases in it. So we'll just say text. I'll finish that off there. So I'm just kind of trying to get an idea of what we're going to get out of this. That's village. Will should be will. Stopping. Okay, so I don't see any. I want to make sure. So I think I'm just going to throw in some extra cases here. I want to see AA at the bottom like this. And let's do BB should be just replaced with B. And we have this double space here, which should end up being a single space as well. Let me just see. Let me make sure I'm testing against all my edge cases here. So this function should be case sensitive. So capital A, lowercase a should not be considered a double. And double spaces should be considered a double. Okay, so I think this just adds those edge cases in just so I can at least see it. You know, doesn't need to be make sense or whatever, but just, you know, so long as we have something to test it. Cool. So replace doubles takes in, this will take in, let's call this my text. And we'll say my text. And then we'll say this takes in txt. I'm just going to call it txt for the input, because that's what I like to do. And what did we want to return? We want to return Maybe we just want to return. I think we can do this by just returning txt, and we'll just change it according. Okay, so there's a couple ways we can do this. I'm going to go through a solution here, maybe two, and then we have a request about a certain approach regarding the like a sort of an index-wise counting. Let's see. I think this is. I think I understand what's being asked here. So, is there a way to do this with checking by index, examining index 0 and index 1, then index 1 and index 2, then index 2 and index 3? Yeah, I think that's one of the solutions. Yeah, that's one of the solutions I'm thinking of. I think we can do this. I'm going to do a different solution initially. Well, no, why don't we do that? Why don't we try it for that solution? Okay, let me reorient. I was thinking about something else. So I think what I want to do, I could use, can I use zip? I have to find a way to do this where I make sure that I'm getting every element in the string. So I think actually I'm just going to do a range. I'm just going to loop through a range, get the indices of the string, and then use those indices in a special way. So we'll say for I in range, I could enumerate too. I'll just stick with range for now since that's what occurred to me first. We could rewrite this with enumerate, but I'll do for I in range len text. We've got kind of a lot here, but we'll print I, and that should give us all the indices of text. We got 150 characters in there. All right. Then I can do something like current character equals text sub I, and we could do either next character or previous character. I'm going to do previous. Previous character equals text sub I minus 1. So this will, in general, give me the whatever, current character. We could sort of subjective, but I'm just thinking of this is the current character and this is the previous character, and we could see if they're the same. Then we could, I guess we could do out text. Let's call this text out equals an empty string, and I'll call this text in just to differentiate between the two. So let's see. So these will be all text in, and then this will be text out. Okay. So the thing is, the very first time through this loop, current char is going to be text in sub I, and previous char is going to be text in sub I minus 1. The very first time through this loop, I is going to be 0. So text in sub I is going to be the first element in the list. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 is a valid index for, I said list, but I meant string. You can index into a list or a string, and it works exactly the same. So 0 minus 1 is negative 1, and that is a valid index for a string. It is, or for any indexable type. Negative 1 is going to be the last item in the list. 0 is going to be the first item in the list. What I don't want to do, though, is compare the last item in the list into the first and the first item in the list. I don't want to compare them together. So what I think I want to do is I just want to skip one iteration. That way previous char is previous ch is going to be equal to I minus 1, where I is 1, and current ch will be text in sub I, or text in sub 1, which will be the second character, and then text in sub 1 minus 1 is going to be 0, which will be the first character. So you might be wondering, well, why go through all that trouble when, maybe you could just do +1 here. But then we encounter the same problem on the other end of the loop, kind of. So we either have to handle it by skipping the first iteration or find a way to stop the last iteration. I just usually, when I have this sort of compare things in a collection to the elements next to them in that ordered collection, I always do this like current thing, previous thing, and I skip the first iteration. That's just my preference, but there are other variations of this that you could do. So the way I'm going to skip that first iteration, and remember, I need to skip it so that we don't get text in sub 0 and text in sub -1, because we don't want to compare the first element to the last element. So we're going to skip that first iteration. The way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to say if I equals 0. That's going to tell me I'm at the first iteration through the loop, and we can just continue. Continue is just going to say, hey, don't worry about the rest of this stuff. Just skip this iteration. I was talking with somebody today about continue and it being a little bit difficult to like think of where to put it. I remember kind of having some difficulty learning continue. I wish continue had been called skip, S-K-I-P, but it's not called skip, it's called continue. So continue just skips one iteration of a loop. So it skips one cycle of the loop. So if I equals 0, we're going to continue, which is going to skip running the rest of this code and just go straight into the next loop. And then we'll set current char and the previous char. Cool. So from here I can say if current char is equal to previous char, now I'm taking an additive solution here. So at some point, what do I need to do in here? Do I need to continue again? I think I do. I think I can continue again, and then I can just say text out plus equals, let's just say current char. Oh no, actually I think it needs to be previous char. Or maybe I could do, yeah, it'll be previous char, and then at the end of it, I guess I could do I have to find a way to add in the very last character. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just run this and see what it does. Okay, so let's look at our output here. This is the output that we got. Looks like my double space was removed. My capital A, lowercase a was not removed. I don't see any double letters in here. What I want to know is if I say hello at the end of this, am I going to get this O? I think I'm not going to get that O. Oh, I am. Let's say hi. Cool. I feel like this shouldn't be working, but according to this test that I am giving it, it is working. And the reason I say this is sometimes your code is working and you don't realize it, and that's a thing that happens. It's happening to me right now. It's a thing that happens more frequently than you'd think, like kind of all the time. This is another good. You'll hear me talk about. I mean, anybody who's heard me lecture even a little bit probably knows how fond I am um, of testing and running your code often. Sorry, had a little train of thought there, but in this case, oh yes, I realized. Excuse me. I realized. I think because I had this new line character here. Sorry, as I was saying that, I realized why I'm getting a false positive on this. And I think if I take that new line out, I'm gonna miss that I at the very end. Yes. Okay. So I'm not getting that very, very last character. So I don't know. Yeah. Hmm. Oh, I know what to do. I bet I could do this. I could add if we're if we're at our first iteration, we can do our previous character, or we can add, would it be our current character? I think it might be our current character. Yeah. Um, and if we're on other iterations, I think we can add our previous character. Although I feel like that's just going to duplicate um, that first character unnecessarily. But let's just see. Let's just see what happens. Okay. All right. So let's see. I know I've definitely solved this problem this way before. Okay. So this appears to be working, but what if I have... Yes. What if I have a double character in the very beginning? What's that gonna do? Okay. So double character in the beginning, single character in the beginning. Alright. What if I take out this line feed? I have all these line feeds everywhere that might be messing things up. Okay, so that looks like that's working. What about this? Cool. Okay. It looks like it's working, at least to the level of scrutiny that I was able to give it. Um, this actually is still in line with what I was saying earlier. Sometimes your code will be working and you don't expect it to be working, so run it constantly because you may have solved the problem and not fully realized it. Happens a lot. Let's see if it passes. It does. Okay, cool. So I think this, if I'm understanding the asker's question correctly, I think this is the approach that they were asking for here. I think we can chain this together And we can say this will be an elif like this. Can we do an else here? Yes. We could do an else here if we wanted. The else would be optional, either to have it like this or to have it in an else. I think I'll do an else. Not for any particular reason, just, I don't know, because I feel like it. So, slight improvement there. That is correct as well. Awesome. Okay. Replace doubles. Da-da-da. Good. So there is another, I want to go through the other solution that I wanted to do for this one, which is, let me sort of copy this out here. Oh, I didn't give myself another, dang it. Let me get another block here. I lost it again. Okay, let me get a few of these so I don't have to keep doing that. Oops. Let's put a whole bunch in there. Okay. Good. Let's comment this out. And there's my old solution. So here's another solution to this. What we can actually do. Oh, I did want to mention we could do something like enumerate here. And that would, we could get our current char like this. That might make it, I don't know. This is the same solution, just maybe a little more elegant because we're using enumerate. Save ourselves a line of code. I think that'll work the same, but it's neither here nor there. But I think what I could do, I could just iterate through the alphabet. So if I say alphabet equals a string, we want to include spaces, and we'll say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Cool. Alphabet equals this. And then we're going to say I'm going to say alphabet plus equals itself plus alphabet dot capitalize. So we want to check capital letters because like capital B should be a valid one. So we're just going to, so if I print alphabet right now, we'll see that we have the alphabet in lowercase, then the alphabet in uppercase. We also have that space duplicated in there once. So I think what I want to do is just say, we'll just put that in there once like this, and we'll do this. Yep, cool. So now I only have one space, and it kind of formats this kind of nicely. We do want to check space, so that's why that has to be in there. That's not just for formatting, but cool. All right, so these are all the characters that I want to check. So alternatively, I could go for character in alphabet, print character. And I could say if ch plus ch in text in our input text, we could say text in dot replace ch plus ch. So that's the character doubled, right? So we'll replace the doubled character with the single version of the character. And then I think we can just return text in, I think. Let me, since we're not using text in and text out, let's just call this text. Kind of makes more sense. Doesn't look like that worked. Oh, of course that's why. I'm like, what? It didn't do anything. Right. So, told myself I'd remember that too. Okay. Text equals text dot replace. Huh, interesting. Very interesting. So we know that CH is the proper character from the alphabet, including space, and lower cases and capitals. And then we want to see, I just wonder, is this ever true? Print double letter found. Okay, okay, cool. So it looks like we found a few double letters. But we want to replace those double letters. We want to replace those double letters with single letters. So what am I doing wrong here? Maybe we'll print let's print text.replace. We should see one change at a time here. Huh. Let's see. Oh, is this other one running up here? No. Interesting. Getting so much extra output. Oh, of course I am. That's, yeah, because that's, I literally just... Okay. So replace isn't doing what I want it to do. Maybe is it the other way around? Am I like crazy? Does replace just work in the total opposite way? Oh. Let's try this. Yeah, okay, so that looks like that had the opposite effect. This is doubling all the things that are already doubled, which is hilarious. But that's not what we wanted to do. So let's see. Oh. Huh. Okay. Let's do this. I feel like this is like really obvious, and I'm probably just like missing something that's just like right on the nose that's very, very obvious. But let's check it out. Let's say help string dot replace. Oops. Let's try that. Okay. Old, new, count -1. Count maximum number of occurrences to replace. -1 means replace all occurrences. Right. Yeah. So is double CH, is that not... Am I crazy about this? I'm really going to kick myself when I... Okay. Wait, what? Huh. Interesting. I wonder why this double W doesn't make it out, because some of them definitely are being replaced, but it looks like the double capitals are not being replaced. Yeah, look at that. We never print out double capitals. So ain't that a funny thing? I wonder why that is. So are we not print... Let's print out CH again. Am I not somehow like not going through every element in the alphabet, every character? Yeah, somehow it's ending. Huh. Huh. Somehow I didn't actually... Okay. Oh. I did the capitalize method instead of the uppercase method, which is upper. Capitalize capitalizes the first letter. Upper capitalizes the whole thing. Okay. Yep, it was... So it was extremely obvious. That's what it was. Alright. It was like one of those hidden in plain sight, so obvious that you would never even know. Okay, cool. Woo! Looks like that's working. Alright. Try it one more time. Okay. Alright. So if you can distinguish between the capitalized method and the upper method, which I know I've done successfully before, this is sort of the preferable approach. So yeah, this should also work. So what's going on here is we're just going through each character in the alphabet. We see if the character plus the character, which is just the character doubled. So if cha-cha in text, if the doubled character is in the text, then we say text equals text.replace double character with single character. So that's all that's going on there. I'm actually glad that happened, because I think it's good for y'all to see sort of like the debugging processes that I have to go through. And also that I do have to go through debugging processes like even those simple kind of mistakes, like I anticipate that I will continue to make those kinds of mistakes probably forever. It's not, you're not going to learn, you know, and I don't know, like maybe somebody else has a different standard for how you should program, but to me, it's more an approachable skill if you think about it. Like, you're not trying to learn to not make mistakes. Look at the consequence of making that mistake. The consequence was that I had to run my code. I got a little confused, and then I got a good laugh out of it when I realized I used capitalize instead of upper, and no big deal. So I don't know what 5, maybe 10 minutes of my time went into that, which is not really that big a deal. So what's more important is that you develop the skill of like, okay, well, something's happening in my code and I don't fully understand it. How am I gonna, what techniques and resources do I know that I have at my disposal in order that I can continue to run my code, continue to test things out, and continue to try to understand what's going on here. So I confirmed how replace works with the help method like this, or with the help function. This is one thing that I did. Ultimately, the thing that really did it was printing ch and really actually meaningfully looking at the result, right? Which if I had given that a little more attention right out of the gate, I might have noticed that I was not getting the uppercase characters that I thought I would be. But either way, it's like thinking about learning debugging that's a skill that's really worth having, because you're gonna write and encounter code that has unexpected behavior. It's gonna happen, and it's better to be able to have skills to deal with that when it does happen, rather than like think if it is happening that you're not a good programmer or something. And like I said, maybe somebody else has a really good reason why people who make mistakes aren't good programmers, but I don't know. I would have to fire myself if I thought that, so whatever. Cool. Run those tests again, which I think I already did, but just so it'll save in there. Good to go. And I think, yeah, the solution takes a similar approach, but they bake in the capital letters, which is probably what I should have done. All right. And then they're saying they're doing this. Oh, I guess you don't need to do the check. We can just get rid of the that condition, it looks like. Can we do that? And they do ch times 2, which is either way, right? Is that going to work too? Yeah, that'll work too. Cool. All right, so a couple different ways for that one. We do have some code from the original asker. I just want to take a quick look through it. See. Let me know to the person asking this question. Let me know if this is helping you with your solution. I'm just kind of looking through some of this here. Okay, we got a 2-space indent. I'm gonna set this up for a 4-space indent. There we go. There we go. Okay. So one thing I'm noticing, let me verify that is actually the formatting that was sent in. Yeah, so this return, that is correct. So this return is inside of this for loop. So notice where this for loop ends, either when there's no more code, in the function, or when there's something that is dedented or unindented from the inside of the for loop, which is indented one indentation space to the right. It's tabbed in to the right, right? So the for loop ends when it sees something tabbed onto or before its level. So in this case, if the return is inside the for loop, what's going to happen is so I'll describe the very first iteration through the list. we do for index and letter in list enumerate sentence 2. We check our condition, and then we return. What happens when the function encounters a return is it makes this the output of the function, and then that's it. No more function. It outputs this, and it stops executing any code. So even though this is in the middle of a for loop, it's not going to finish the rest of the iterations. It's just going to go through this on the first iteration, it's going to return, and it's never going to get past the first iteration. It's never going to get to the second iteration. So we have to tab out that return to the back right here. So let's just check out this solution and see if it's going to work. Of course, I didn't give it a test. Forgot to give it a test. Boom. I didn't skip one of the iterations. Yeah, that'll get you. So yeah, so this is looks like it's doing sort of a we're getting an index out of range, and I think that's because of this IDX plus 2 here. That's my guess. Fairly certain about that, but yeah. So you might benefit from a continue in there somewhere, but you're gonna have to solve this indexing quandary in some way. So honestly, I might just try to get away with doing this, like multiplying it by 2, just so you have a double. So you have an instance of a double letter to replace, right? Something like that. Yeah, multiple ways that you could handle this. Cool. All right, cool. Great. This is a great question. I rather enjoyed working on this one. I like it when I get, I go through these questions often like really easily, so I kind of like it when I get stuck. I'm like, this is kind of a challenge, but I just got stuck because, I can't tell the difference between capitalize and upper. So it's a great way to get stuck. Now it actually is. I had fun. I kind of like it when I get to debug stuff, even if it is on stream and it is my code. All right, cool. Yeah. To the question asker, let me know. I feel like we're complete on that, but let me know if you have any further questions. And if anybody else has any questions, or if the same person has another question, the floor is open. Cool. So I don't see anything as of this moment. Let's see what's going on here. So for now, I think we can jump back into here. Let's see. Do I post the notes from study hall? I would want. Okay. I usually don't post the notes for study hall, but there's no particular reason. Why don't I just post this right now so I don't forget? There's a solution to that. Okay, cool. Looks like we got another couple questions here. Can I take a look at this code? Having trouble in some condition problems. Cool. All right. It looks like this is this code is pasted in. It looks like in an unformatted, just just regular text block. If you use like if you type in triple backticks, it should give you like a little box where you can submit a code block that'll be more formatted. But I'll see if this will paste in correctly like this. We got a return and a for loop again. Oh, come on. Is this okay? Okay, we'll do that. Sorry, I didn't mean that. I just realized that I didn't mean to sound like condescending or something. But yeah, so the it looks like this formatting is going to work. Let me just run it and make sure I don't get any like character errors or something. String index out of range. Oh, that was from the previous one. Okay, cool. So it looks like this is good. So, oh, but yeah, you did get it. Cool. That is formatted better. Thank you. All right. So, is there a? Do you have a link for this? I'm presuming this is for Learn. I can't. I mean, it's producing output, so I don't know what it should do based on just the code. So if there's a problem statement, I can go off of. Let's see here. Yeah, I need a problem statement for this one. I can go through here. I mean, I can say right off the bat that this return inside this for loop is gonna be the same thing. You have to watch and make sure that your return is outside your loop. The only case in which you have a return inside your loop, in which that's okay, is when the return is in an if that is in the loop, right? You may encounter a scenario where you check a condition, and if the condition is true, then you're like, well, I don't need to do any more iterations. I know I just need to return this other thing, and then you can return before completing the loop. So that's. But if you have a return that's not inside of a condition, that's still inside your loop, then you're never going to get more than one iteration past the loop. So we'll back out that return. Cool. Yeah, and if you have a link to this problem in Learn, I'll take that as well, so we can submit it and check it out and make sure it's going to work. Cool. But this is good. This will get me started. Cool. Great. Write a function called split on this. This function takes arguments. Huh. Presumably 2 arguments. First it takes a string called split me. Second it takes... Oh, is this from Code Wars? Oh, wow. This is... Okay. I gotta go... If this is the copy in that problem statement, I gotta go rewrite this. This is tough. Okay, first it takes a string called split me. Second it takes a letter called splitter. Okay. Split me and splitter looks good. This function should return a list that is split on every occurrence of that letter. If that letter is not in the string, the function should return cannot split on that letter. Okay. This is a test, so presumably, I think according to this, we should have this should be a list of strings like this, right? I think that's what it's saying. Oh. I believe that that's what it's saying. Is for this input we should get this. Oh, that would be for spaces actually. I didn't realize that was I. Okay. So let's do this. If we wanted to do I, we could say, let's see. Okay. So let's say, let's delete those. I'll delete, oops, not that. No, no. Okay. This is a test. So what I want to do is split on these. So I think I want to say, oh wow. Okay, no. Okay, so we'll delete the I, we'll end that, we'll begin another one, and we'll say that. And then we'll end that, begin another one, and we'll separate with a comma. Okay, so this is what I should expect for I. There's another scenario which is Q. So if we have if we have a letter that's not, or if our splitter is not in the string, we can say splitter is not, or cannot split in that letter. So our output for this should be cannot split on that letter. Okay. It's like a little mini error. Cool. Okay, let's just verify that real quick. For second arguments, the function should return a list that is split on every occurrence of the letter. If the splitter letter is not in the string, the function should return cannot split on the letter. Okay, cool. So we can handle that as an edge case right up front, and I think that that's what this is. So we can say if we can just do a test for membership. If splitter not in split me, we can just return. We'll return early. This if this is the case, then if this condition is true, then we'll return this line of code, and none of the rest of this will be run because we execute this return on line 116 here, and it's just functions over. So we can just exit out early if that's the case. So I'm just going to run it, and this says cannot split on that letter. Okay. Oh, looks like it's looks like it's working. Oh, copy. There's a copy. I see. So we actually don't need to make a copy in this case. Copying is useful for lists, but it's just not necessary with strings. Oh. Look at me talk about stuff. Just broke the function. Okay. Yeah. So let's see what's going on here. THI S space I as a test. Okay, so for L in split me, if L equals splitter, copy split me equals cannot split on that letter. Oh! Yeah, well, that's why it's working, because we're using the split method. We could just return split me dot split splitter split splitty Dr. Mr. Splitty over here, and that would work. That would work as well. But in the interest of not using split, I think we could do an additive solution where we just do sort of an accumulator and skip accumulating things that aren't the character. Yeah, let's try to do that. So I'm thinking, let's say text out. Oops. Dr. Splitty, yeah. Cool. So let's say text out equals. We'll just start with. Oh no, we're not outputting text. We're outputting a list. So we'll just say list equals a list, and we'll say word. And this isn't really going to be a word. This is going to be a nested accumulator. Is what we're going to do. We're going to do an accumulator pattern inside another accumulator pattern, and then we'll do 4-letter in split me. Yeah, so we'll say if. Maybe we won't do a nested accumulator. Well, I don't know. If letter not equal to splitter. Oh, S-P-L-I-T-T-E-R. Okay. If it's not equal, then we want to. Oh yeah. So if it's not equal. Oh, what a weird one. I think this is like a parallel accumulator kind of thing. So if it's not equal, we want to word plus equals L. We'll add it to word. Else it is equal. We will append list.append word, and then I think we just reset word after we do that. So because we know, so we'll append the word, and then we'll reset the word to 0. I think that'll do it. I'm not sure. There might be another step that I forgot in the middle of there, but let's just see what this does. Oh. That's not defined because I didn't define it. I guess I'm returning list. TH. Looks like it didn't do the final one, so maybe if I just run append one more time out here after the word is done. That looks closer. I think that's it. Let's see. So th s space and test, and then this is our expectation. Looks like this is what we expect here. And let's just paste this in and see if that's what we got. We'll just paste it in side by side and just. That looks right. Okay. Cool. And then the next one is easier. This is a test and this is a test. There's no extra spaces or any other characters in there. It looks good. Then cannot split on that letter. Cool. So I guess this solution would work as well. Where we could do, yeah, so for the letter in the input text, if the letter is not equal to the splitter target, then we're going to increment this word accumulator. And if it is equal to that target, then we will append whatever we've accumulated to Word, and we'll reset Word to 0. That's it. Yeah. Cool. Indeed. All right. So let's see. Also notice, like, I really can't emphasize this enough, right? Like, I know it might seem like I have like almost like a careless attitude about like, whatever, just like, you know, um, you'll get like working code eventually. It's fine. Like I worry about coming off that way a little bit. There's a lot of times where I really kind of try to emphasize what you do and what you don't want to spend your time thinking about in terms of a solution. So I got as far as this, and I realized I did like line 127 here. I didn't have this. I didn't conceive of this line until I realized, well, it looks like I'm not getting whatever the last element is. Like I'm getting every element up until that. Like it's just shorter and it's falling short of what I needed. And I looked at this and I was like, okay, right, because I'm only appending the word when the given letter is not equal to the splitter. Um, if the string ends, then I need to append the word because that's the last word. But it's only going to append the last word if the last character was equal to the splitter. So I was like, okay, right. So this is just missing that final case. It feels a little like quick and dirty to just do the append after the loop like this. And it occurs to me now that I could add another condition in here that might tell me. So we could say, maybe we could enumerate or something and say, if it's the last iteration, we'll say I and L. The last iteration will be, so we'll say if I oh wow, okay. Hmm. I wonder. Oh wow. I think I would have to do it like this. If oh no, that's not what okay. Don't paste in the whole thing. If L not equal, if L is equal to splitter, yeah, is equal to splitter, or um, I equals len split me. -1. That might save me from needing to do it here, although that somehow feels less desirable. Kind of liked it better the other way. Yeah, I think just doing it this way it's simple. A little quick and dirty, but it keeps the code simple. It's going to work. That'll do. Cool. How does what you wrote exclude the splitter? So this condition checks if L is not equal to the splitter, then we include L in the word that we're going to append. If it is equal to the splitter, then we don't include L. This iteration for L does not get included into the word. Instead, what we do is we append whatever we've accumulated onto the word to that point, not including L, which in this case would be the splitter. We append the word, and then we wipe the word clean. We like set it back to neutral. So we would append everything that we accumulated in Word to that point, and then reset word to 0. Yeah. Oh, it looks like you had that realization as I was, or before I gave the answer. Cool. Cool. I'm seeing a lot of good discussion going on here, which I love. People weighing in on this. This is awesome. I'm glad that this can be a forum for that. That seems great. I'm not sure if any of that conversation was directed at me. I'm just looking real quickly to see if there's other questions in there. I'm not, for me, if there's anything that I missed. So I'm not seeing anything just at a glance. Yeah, let me know if I missed something in there. Cool. It can take a moment to register what's happening in the code. I mean, yeah, like, yeah, I know that well actually, because people send me code all day, and I'm looking at code all day, and basically I need to read it twice to, like, the second time through, I'm usually like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. But often the first time through, I'm like, what's going on? What? But that's just part of it. So I'll give it kind of a skim, and then kind of give it a more careful thing. So it can definitely take a minute for things to sink in. But it's funny because, like, when they do, it always feels like, oh, it's obvious. But I think that's just part of the phenomenon, right? Like, it feels obvious once you know, but was it actually obvious if you if you needed to, like, think about it? So just part of it. Cool. It looks like we got another one. I thought I had to write split dot string letter. Ah, yeah, yeah. Getting that all, like, in the right order can be a trick, but you do get used to it. Cool. Oh, you have oh, this is a solution for that prior problem. Looks like. Because initially it seemed like split wasn't working with just letter. Let's see. Yeah, this is going to be another single um, single iteration for loop, because since we have, so I was saying that you can only have a return in a for loop if that return is inside of a condition, and there's an exception to that, which is if you have a conditional chain that ends in an else and all of the conditions end in a return, then one of those returns is definitely going to be run, right? So if this condition is true, we're going to return this, and we're not going to do any more loops. If this condition is true, we're going to return this, and we're not going to have any more loops. In this case, you're using split, so I actually think we don't need loops. We can just do that. So if letter in split me will return the splitted thing, else can't split on that letter. Which I'm not sure. I don't think I have a link to this problem, so I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it looks like there was a link provided. I'm sorry. Let me go up and snag that real quick. So I wasn't sure if this is like a test for you to, like, learn how to use the split method, or if it's a, like, write a function that does this and it kind of just does what the split method does. So if it's practice on using split, then this is a great way to do it. If it's practice on, like, procedural programming to, like, build the behavior of split, then that other way would be the thing to do. Oh, well, this lesson is called split, so probably it's probably practice for how to use the split method, so that makes sense. Let's see. Split function. Split on this. All right. Let's see. Let's. I'm gonna put in this solution. This was sort of the last solution sent to me. To be clear, all I did to this was just took it out of the for loop. Like in this case, oh right, we need to see. I think this is just going to be splitter. Split on splitter. We don't need to cast as a string there. We can just do that. Sorry, I didn't fully fix that one up. Or we don't need parens for return, just a space. Okay, so if splitter and split me returns split me dot split splitter, else return can't split on that letter. So this code should work. So all I did was basically just rearrange this to be outside of that for loop, and that should work. With this other solution that I now realize is a bit ridiculous, because we could have just, and the point was to use the split method, and I didn't do that. Let's just see if that's going to work. Sometimes they're smart enough to be like, hey, you didn't use the tool that we just were trying to get you to use. But it looks like that's going to work. Cool. So they'll both work. All right. I'm getting a lot of tongue twisters these days. I'm like a tongue twister. I think I like get excited about programming and I start to try to talk faster than I actually know how to talk, and then I start to just like, well, let's do it as, but yeah. All right. Does it know what letter is without the for loop? I think maybe you asked that before I realized that no, it does not know what letter is. But in this case, I think what I did is just substituted letter with the splitter. Because once I saw that, I was like, oh, right, I need to kind of rewrite that. So we can just say if splitter is in split me, then we can use the split method, split me dot split splitter, and then else we can return cannot split on this letter, on that letter. By it, I mean Python, yeah. Yep. First statement, tongue twister. I thought, no, it's not your bad for thinking you needed a for loop with this one. Yeah, no worries. The when you sent it to me, I saw the for loop and I gave like a for loop solution. My assumption was that they were like having you write, like here's procedural programming practice, like write a function that essentially does what the split method does, but do it manually. So that's how I took that. So you could solve, I mean, as I showed here, right, learn will accept either approach, right? I think the point of this lesson was to get you to use the split function, but it's kind of fun to rewrite it just purely procedurally. This for loop approach doesn't use the split function. All it does, the only method, or the split method, the only method it uses is append for lists. Yeah. I wonder if we can like view the code for the split function. What is it? Python docs. What is it? .org? Pythondocs.org. I want to see if we can actually like view it. I bet it does something like way cooler than this behind the scenes, but let's just take a real quick gander in here. Oh, Python 10. Hey. Oh, we'll go with 3.8 since I think that's the version that I'm using. Library reference. It's gonna be in, no, it's gonna be in, might be in library reference. Module index, general index, glossary. Okay, I'm diving down a rabbit hole. I should do this on my own time. This is kind of getting into the weeds. But yeah. I mean, this basically, we built our own split method from scratch with this. It looks a little different. We call it a little differently because it's a regular function rather than being a method on strings. But it works the same. And it gives us this, our special little error here. So, I mean, that's sort of a good challenge. If you're working through the problems in Learn, you can, you know, do them in the way that they're asking, you know, or do it the easy way, and then see if you can do it in a purely like procedural way. See if you can like build it from scratch, right? I mean, if we look at this, like, we're not using any complicated tools in this at all, right? Empty list, empty string, simple for loop, if else, append. That's it. It's just really, really, really basic, simple, small set of tools. It's amazing what you can get done with this, though. Like what you can do with code that looks like this. Just simple procedural code. If you know, I mean, if you know how to bend the accumulator pattern to your will, it just there's almost nothing you can't do with it. So yeah, it's fun. Cool. All right. We're getting close to ending, wrapping up. To be honest, it's Friday, and I am I'm looking forward to. I'm having a lot of fun, but I think I'm gonna call it a little early today because I am a bit tired, and I would like to get some rest. But yeah, feel free to DM me. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Apologies if you did DM me recently and it took a while to respond. Yeah, things just got busy and I kind of got backed up with Slack messages and kind of needed to reprioritize those in a different way. So cool. I think this was a great study hall today. Thanks to everybody who brought in questions and interacted. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad you appreciate it. Yeah, so yeah, thanks to everybody for viewing and listening and hanging out. Hope this was fun and instructive, even if you weren't one of the people interacting on Slack today. Yeah, let me know. Definitely DM me if you have any feedback or questions or any follow-ups to the questions in here, and I'd be happy to go over them with you. So that's it. I'll leave it there, and y'all have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.